Hello, welcome. We'd like to take a roll call to open up this session of Central Area Town Hall. Member Austin Pratt here.
Atlas Pearson here.
Yeah, they heard him in here.
And Mrs. Becky Schwanger is absent, and so is Mr. Member Priest. Martinez.
Is Priest on? Okay.
Gotcha. All right, and first up on our regular calendar items, we have our first agenda item, discussion and possible action, including approval of minutes from the August 14th, 2023 regular meeting.
You can't hear?
Oh, really? Oh, no, okay.
Well, you're so soft-spoken, Oz.
Sorry about that. This is also my first time speaking from this platform. So first on our agenda list, we have a discussion and possible action, including approval of minutes from the August 14th, 2023 regular meeting. And do all our members have a copy?
Yes.
Does anyone see anything that needs changes or updates?
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
A second.
Do I hear sorry, can I get a roll call vote? Is that all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's have it. All right, next on the agenda, we have a discussion of possible action, including acceptance of an update conversation with Mrs. Miranda Turner, Director of Lake County Community Development Department. Are you there, Miranda?
Didn't hear her. Yes.
Yes, that's better.
Thank you. Okay. I was going simply, there's times when I am trying to get through to you about the actual process that I'm, right. My question is, could you move forward, please? Just join us in the meeting, please. This is very important. We appreciate you being here. Can you hear us now? Well, I hear what you're saying. I'm not sure what the problem is. Thank you all.
Oh, I apologize, everyone. Do we have any public comment on the minutes of the August 14th regular meeting? Do you see any online? No. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the August 14th, 2023 regular meeting?
Move approval?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, now moving to the second agenda item, sorry. Discussion of possible action, including acceptance of an update or conversation with Ms. Miranda Turner, the Director of Lake County Community Development Department.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you. It is my great pleasure to present an update to you tonight regarding the development department. Since this is transformed town hall, I wanted to sort of do a brief update to the office. We have a mission statement of delivering exceptional
Recording in progress.
Okay. We have completed 4,402 inspections. Additionally, one thing that we're excited about in the department is we created a QR code that enables our permittees to schedule building inspections just by going on that QR code on their phone. Right now we have it on a page in our wall at the office. However, we're ordering business cards so that all of our contractors and all of our applicants can just stash that away in their wallets. So when they want to go ahead and schedule an inspection, they don't have to call, possibly get on hold, or have any delay. They can just go straight to that website and schedule it online. Code Enforcement Division. The education of the code enforcement officers has been through CASIO, the California Code Enforcement Officer something Association. So we are currently down a few positions in code enforcement officers. However, prior to losing those couple of officers, we had everybody certified through CASIO. One interesting thing to note this year in code enforcement, it was a sharp uptick in hazardous vegetation management complaints. We got over 250 of those, and in order to deal with those in a more efficient manner, we rerouted our grading inspector, who was at a temporary lull anyway, over towards doing windshield inspections to verify the complaints of the hazardous vegetation management. As far as fixing that problem, we're actually still kind of working on that, because this is a relatively new issue for our department to sort of figure out. So we're working on that, but just letting you know that as these needs arise, we are able to pivot some of our staff resources to sort of deal with this new issue. Also, since we are down a few positions, they are posting that position soon. So please, if you know anyone who is interested in working in code enforcement, joining our totally awesome team and helping our residents keep our neighborhoods in great shape, please feel free to direct them to the job opportunities webpage at the Lake County website. One other news in code enforcement, we have placed a new code enforcement supervisor, and he's going to be looking over the abandoned vehicle program, as well as the hazardous vegetation management program, as well as the benefit assessment zone, which is a program in Kelseyville, Riviera, that deals with hazardous vegetation management. Additionally, we have used grant funds to secure new equipment to aid in the efficiency of our officers. This includes mobile printers, laptops, and possibly and a drone for the future, as well as safety equipment for our officers, including cameras for their cars and their person, as well as being able to track them via satellite. So as y'all know, there's all kinds of nooks and crannies in our county, and our code enforcement officers could encounter unknown, possibly hazardous situations, so we really like to keep track of where they are. Moving on to the planning division. Staff professional development and education in planning has included planning best management practices, CEQA, which is the environmental analysis legislation and regulations that we navigate in most of our permits, as well as legislative policy updates, specifically housing. Let's see what else. The Code Enforcement Task Force, which is supported administratively by our planning staff, recently approved recommendations for zoning and permit levels for cannabis-related business permits. This recommendation table and list has gone to the Agriculture Advisory Committee for their recommendations, and they're kind of chewing on it, and hopefully we're going to get some results from them soon, because we plan to go to the Planning Commission and eventually to the board for their input by the end of the year. Next on the task force's agenda is to start working on development standards, but we're kind of just sort of doing some educational meetings for now, because we don't want to start on development standards, which include things like minimum parcel size, setbacks, things like that. We don't really want to start on that until the board has had its chance to give us their input on what permits and permit level, or what types of permits and where they have any interest in dealing with. And so we're assuming some of these things will get kicked off the list of recommendations, and so that'll give us a more focused list of options to deal with as far as development standards. Upcoming projects for Planning Division are the Maha project, which is the Maha Gwinnett Valley. That 16,000 acre resort plan development down in Middletown. That has been going through a lot of work to satisfy the Attorney General and the judges' requirements as far as which parts of their environmental impact report were found faulty. They've been focusing on that since then, and we do anticipate that application returning to us probably within a month. And then, my favorite part, I will end with this. We have, the board supported or approved an agreement with PlaceWorks, which is an amazing firm, a planning firm, that is going to assist our staff in launching all 8 local area plans and the general plan update. They have a 3-year proposed timeline, and we will be meeting with them, I think either later this month or early November, to start working on fine-tuning that timeline so that we can start reaching out to our community town halls and our community organizations to start doing that public outreach. As you know, local area plans are, I hope, you may not know, but local area plans and general plans are community driven. And so public input is the top priority as we try to figure out how our communities have changed since, the earliest one was done in late 1988, I think it was, to 2010. And our communities have changed significantly since then. So we have to figure out now, who are we, what do we prize about these communities, and where do we see ourselves going in the future? It's usually normal that your general plan is a robust document and your area plans just sort of fill in the gaps, but we've turned that on its head because our area plans are so outdated that our plan going forward is the area plans are going to be the robust documents, and the rest of the stuff that is required by law or is region-wide, county-wide, those are going to be in our general plan. So I'm really excited about this because I don't know any other jurisdiction that has done it this way, but I also don't know why they haven't done it this way. This is going to be good for our county because we're going to hear ad nauseum. I mean, you guys are going to be sick of me trying to get your visioning and your opinions for the community, its identity, and where we want to go. So, super excited, and I really hope that you'll invite me back to a future meeting, hopefully like in January or February, so I can give you more details on that process. And that concludes my presentation, but I am more than happy to take any questions you might have. Anytime. Thank you.
Hey, Randy.
Supervisor Crandall, I wasn't able to hear that. Could you rephrase that or repeat that question, please?
Yes. I didn't hear it because I was messing with this. Sorry.
Or maybe Atlas could do it because I could hear him clearly, but everybody else is a little muddled.
I came back up to the microphone. I was just curious as to whether or not we'll be able to meet or hear from someone from C.E.R.T.H prior to them doing the official outreach.
Good question. I think we are going to have a kickoff meeting that is internal. So far from their scope of work, I do remember that there are 3 3 community meetings planned already for each local area plan. I'm not sure if they're going to come around before we launch, but I would be more than happy to send out notifications to our town halls when we do launch a kickoff that I'm hoping is going to be with the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors.
Great, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.
No other questions?
Any other questions from the public attending audience? I see no
I have a
hands.
question. Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, hi, Maria.
Hi, Betsy.
Yeah. I'm not sure if the rest of the people can hear me.
Yes.
And the yes had about 7 echoes.
One moment. I have to step away for just a second, but I'll be right back.
Oh, I couldn't hear you, Maria.
I think that's what it is. Is it all 3 mics? Testing.
Am I staring at the ceiling now?
Can you hear us? No, I turned it off. Testing. It's the combination of the mics and that. So if we turn off the mics, then they can still hear you.
To record.
Are you recording through Zoom? You're not. So does that bring the audio through them? Whenever you record through Zoom, it captures the audio though.
I'm just concerned that they can't hear you. I'm not sure why.
Hey, sorry, I had to pick up my DoorDash dinner. I'm in Fresno Hotel right now.
We're staring at the ceiling, Maria.
It's a lovely scene.
Yeah. I've been there, I've been a volunteer at that senior center for almost 15 years.
Right?
I know every inch of that building, man.
And let me say, that ceiling looks a lot better
So,
than it used to.
whatever I'm talking I already turned it off
Okay,
though and we still
so-
had the echo. That's what was weird, yeah.
Test audio.
I see a lot of camera action
Hi,
there.
Zoom.
Is that us? Is that Austin?
That's me. That's hello, Betsy.
I'm not hearing you, Austin, but hi.
That one's muted.
Hey, Betsy, did you have a question for me? I don't mean to distract
Can you guys hear me?
the meeting. It's
Testing.
going forward.
Well, but I don't know what's happening, Maria.
Oh,
Maria and Betsy,
Part of
can you
my-
hear me?
Part of my work is to be on the agenda and to have comments recorded in the minutes or reports
It's
recorded.
because both
So that's why I'm being, I'm just
they
joking.
can hear us through this
I don't know what's happening.
because of the feedback. That's my
You
note.
see camera
And it's
movement
muted
there.
now. But now because that's
You?
muted and that's muted, they can't hear us on Zoom.
did.
You did, yeah.
Now we're back. The ceiling is very zen, isn't it? I can just kind of hang out and look at it. It's been a long
Yeah,
day.
I mean, you and I could have this meeting. I don't have any problem with that. I'm supposed to be part of their ad hoc committee.
Oh, there it goes. That's much better. Thank you.
Testing, can you hear us?
I have 4 members of, no, 3. One guy left, it looks like.
All right, so no pressure, but you're standing between me and my dinner.
Oh, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not in control, Maria.
Testing, this is Atlas, can you hear me? On Zoom?
So, may I
That's it.
just ask the questions and introduce this subject, and then I'll let you all discuss it. We have simultaneously to the planning processes, we have the opportunity to create mini community wildfire protection plans, which are really just an element of the area plan and the general plan under safety and in health, right? But that was just decided on October 3rd, and it's with the release of the new community wildfire protection plan. So we got that going on. Plus Terry Logsdon has a project going on to create community, what does she call it, resilience centers, and the logical center is the Lucerne Center. So you've got three really, they're already funded. We have lots of staff working on them. And my concern is that we all work on them together and not, and make use of the various projects to interact with each other. That would be my question to you, Maria. So.
Oh, I think that's awesome. I think that's a great comment. And I could add to that in that the first priority of the general plan and local area plan updates is the safety element, which is a chapter of the general plan. And in order to complete that, we are doing a regional climate vulnerability analysis report, as well as a countywide evacuation study. And so those things are going to inform not only probably future community wildfire protection plans if when we do those, but they will inform our safety element, the next rendition of our local hazard mitigation plan, as well as there will be themes, actually, the climate change and what we're looking at as far as how that affects our county. And that theme will resonate throughout our local area plans and our general plan. So, as well as the fact that Terry has been sending us NOFAs or options for grant applications to fund our resiliency plan, which I think before was specific to drought, but I'm not sure if that legislation is changing right now. So we are working closely with the administrative office as well as the Office of Emergency Services to make sure that all of these plans going forward are coordinated.
Yeah, that's the trick. And we have this golden opportunity here as a municipal advisory council and the active advocates in the community to really, make this what needs to be done for Lucerne, not just what the previous ideas were. It's a whole new world. Thank you, Maria.
Well, actually, if I could just add to that, I would really beseech the members of this town hall to stay engaged, because you are now the microphone out to the community, not just the microphone to the government regarding the community. And planning to launch these community visioning projects requires a public input that I, as myself, or PlaceWorks as an outside company, can't do alone. But together, it's like the Central Regional Town Hall plus planning is more than 1 + 1 = 2. We can reach out much wider if we just stay in communication and communicate the importance of the community vision as we're going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Much louder than I intended it to. And with that, do we have any public comment out in the physical room? Anybody? Once? No hands? Okay. Do we have a motion to go on? Sorry. I just lost my place. We're rolling on to
EJ's announcement.
yes, sorry. Moving on to
Your ad hoc.
yes, discussion and possible action, including updates from the ad hoc committee.
That's essentially what Betsy just did.
Right, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so, for that said,
Supervisor Crandall, if it's okay, I'm going to step off now.
Okay, I think everyone's fine. No one had questions.
Awesome.
We're good. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
okay, with that said, we are moving on to, this is our final discussion, possible action, acceptance of update from Supervisor Crandall.
Right, step back. Can you hear me? Everybody can hear me pretty good?
Yes.
Echo? struggling with to recruit, if that makes any sense. So when you have like the dispatch that are paid the wage that would be paid like in Mendocino County or in Clear Lake, the struggle is that they don't have the funding. But because they're not filling these positions that are still 20% vacancy rate, we've allowed them to move the funding around. And so with that, tomorrow actually there is something on the agenda. It's a consent agenda item, and what they're going to do is, this is a result of that decision and topic of discussion that we've made. They're going to allow for some of the wages, and the recommended action is to adopt the resolution for them to move these position allocation budget units to allow for some of these wages to recruit and retain the hard-to-fill positions like deputy, corrections, and dispatch, because we were paying like $2 or $3 less, which, when you look at it, is the foundation to the problem of why we don't have deputies on the street. They're coming here, recruiting, getting the $10,000, but then they're forced to do dispatch. They're forced to do corrections. Well, now with this, we can start seeing results. Well, I'm optimistic that we can start seeing results. Start seeing results on that end. So people will stay. Another attribute that we put in the budget, or even before that, was an increase from $1,000 for employees was the previous amount that you would use towards your benefits. Well, now it's $1,500. So they're spending less on having to insure their families and more in their pockets, if that makes sense. Before, it was very difficult. It was cutting into their wages. So it was more beneficial for them to move to different counties and get paid double or triple and still have a good benefit package. So those are some moves we've made, looking to see that come to fruition and help, so that way they can assist code in any other situation in the communities, because I know that Nice has the same problems. Lucerne and Nice are mirrored with the problems that we have. So that's an important attribute to the budget that we included. So I just wanted to make sure you knew, because I know it's something we've been talking about for quite some time. So let's see, we have, let me go to Lake Pillsbury, because that's been something that we've been spending a lot of time on. If you've been seeing the agenda, we've been attending what's called the Russian River Water Forum. As you know, PG&E is abandoning the dam, putting in a request to FERC to try and just to decommission it, and there's no entity that could afford to keep it running, and so basically everybody's positioning where the water's going to go. We are trying to accentuate that we don't agree with it, but we understand this may happen regardless. Conducted a letter to Congressman Thompson, identifying what we wanted as a result, because we're losing a fire, a mitigation source of water, we're losing revenue for tax dollars, and we are also losing not just that, but the properties in general are worth more. See, they look at one thing. They look at the property taxes, which is around $500,000 to $700,000, but the actual property itself is up in the 42 millions of the value. So trying to emphasize everything we can. We did a presentation. It's on my Facebook website. I can put it on C.E.R.T.H after this so that you guys can see it as well. Sam from PEG TV worked with myself, Supervisor Sabatier, Patrick Sullivan, and the Lake Pillsbury Alliance, Carol Cinquini and Frank Lynch, along with Frank Abley from the Forestry Service, Federal Forestry Service, and discussed why it's so important to have that water source for different aspects, one mainly being fire mitigation, and we talked about that. We gave the presentation on October 5th to the Russian River Water Forum, which commonly we don't ever have a chance to talk about that in that forum. We're usually just like silenced. We're not talking about that right now, or whatever the case may be. And so we weren't necessarily like out there to say, save the dam, even though we would like to see that. But what we would like to see, honestly, is unbiased studies and allowing us to speak, rather than just kind of like always picking apart what we bring up. For example, Mendocino County had discussed in that meeting that they're looking to add one of their initiatives to for PG&E had just requested to FERC to allow Mendocino County to put together a proposal for another dam or something of the like, so that they can have a water source for the Potter Valley area. Well, our statement is, well, why are we spending this money to take the dam down and then spend more money to build another when we have it? Why can't we look at other options? Because commonly, all we've really seen is every study, every discussion and topic always benefiting decommissioning, and every excuse and justification and bias towards that topic. Never ever, well, how can we keep the dam, and what would happen if we did, and how much would it cost either way? It's always just biased information towards that. And most folks don't, I mean, they're represented by specific people, and I know it's politics, and everybody's kind of positioning. So we accentuated, look, what happens after the dam's gone? What happens after the water's gone? We're not talking about climate change very much, and we just want everyone to think about that. And after that meeting, after our presentation, there were many people that really felt the same way, but never had the opportunity to say that as well, because every time they were silenced. And so it gave the Lake Pillsbury Alliance group a chance to feel as if they were heard, and that was good, because even when they spoke in front of the Board of Supervisors in 2019 and 2020, one of the local, one of the nonprofits with interests on the eel came and basically just, you know, I guess you could say, poked holes in everything they talked about, and came and made statements and didn't give them the chance, even at our own meeting in our own jurisdiction, to talk about it. So that was very beneficial. We're looking at further topics of discussion, but this Russian River Water Forum is mainly a forum for the results on Russian River. So people that come are mainly talking about that, and we've been meeting with the different counties. Congressman Thompson's been really helping us on this. Of course, he represents both interests, but at the same time, he's ensured that we've always had some sort of voice, or someone coming to us and asking us questions, rather than before, where they would talk to us, and during that discussion, they would have a press release of some new development or something like that. So that's what's going on there. We have another month or so before it goes further into FERC. We're hoping that FERC slows down the process, gives us more opportunity to talk about what we can do for fire mitigation, what we can talk about for just other folks along the Russian River and Eel River for interests in ag or anything like that, to have some sort of, I guess, we all know ultimately that PG&E is the responsible party for the dam, and it goes along with what they are moving towards. So we understand that this may not be the opportunity, but if FERC allows it, then we'll have a little more time. But if not, then we already are prepared. We've sent our letter in, and we're looking at other options. For example, they're called flashes, which is an opportunity for that. I think the local fire department was looking to do that, where they're going to have a tower. We're doing one in Lakeport as well. A tower that runs to another tower, a water tower, which provides a battery, and also provides energy and fire mitigation water, which isn't really as much as a lake, but it's an opportunity. Also, looking at economic development options, looking at 99 years worth of revenue for taxes that we will be losing out on, and we're shooting for the moon on that, obviously. And there's a few others, but I know that the letter specifies it all, and we pretty much nailed out those for it. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what Lake Pillsbury is. If you want to talk more about it offline, I'm willing to go further into depth. There is the harm reduction. We talked about it before. I know that a lot of people come and talk about the needle exchange. Ultimately, the local contractor has been able to actually do it without the county agreement from here forward. So, of course, the Supervisor Sabatier and myself brought it to the board to try to ask the California Department of Public Health to requesting a letter to hear our comments, because apparently there was a comment session in May, and the board didn't vote to allow the letter to go there. And so what we ended up doing, though, is we are conducting bi-monthly meetings with California Department of Public Health, and talking about how we can find a way to be heard, I guess you could say, and look at different ways to maybe have another opportunity to speak to them before they go further. But obviously it's kind of the ball's already rolling, so that's where it's at. Santa Cruz has went against the state on that matter because they felt as if they weren't heard. So I think there's a litigation in process, but again, that's Santa Cruz, it's not us. But nonetheless, we're glad that they're talking to us, and there's another initiative that there was a meeting last week with myself and Supervisor Pyska, along with Behavioral Health and other interested parties, to talk about an initiative we seen at the annual RCRC meeting. It talked about one pill, one kill, or one pill, something like that, less kills or something like that. So, but the initiative is a marketing initiative that they do in a different county, and I know that we have those types of initiatives as well, but we want to make sure everybody's at the table talking about it. And one of the statements that we've made too is to bring the local group together so we can all find some common ground and work on something to save lives. I know that they're already working in their capacity to do that, and so if we could find other ways to actually work together and build more collaboration rather than separation, and we're looking at that in the future as well. So we'll see how that goes from there. We've hired a public health officer, Noemi Duhan. I don't know if we talked about that before. No, because we missed last month's meeting. So Noemi Duhan is now our public health officer, and she started in September. So we now have someone here, whereas before we kept losing people or hiring people from Zoom or whatever, you know, and we don't have to go through that now, thank goodness. We do not have a public health director anymore, and since then, staff, the CAO is filling in until we can find an interim. Then from the interim, we're going to move forward and try to hire a new public health director. So lost one, gained one, and then, you know, that's the nature of the beast at times, and so we'll get to that. We are appointing tomorrow a public public defender administrator. So from here forward, we are contracted right now with Lake Indigent Defense. Well, now what we're doing is moving forward with a director who is going to also work with that group for public defenders to be under his, I guess you could say, his plan. However he decides to move forward with it and work with the group of Lake Indigent Defense. We'll see how it goes from there, but it's all in his hands after we're going to swear him in tomorrow, and so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so that's another thing that we'll be looking at. I'm sorry, let's go back to Caltrans. I don't know if we haven't had Caltrans come here yet, right? The last time we had that, what was it? We had a group come talking about
The castle, I think, was the slowdown project or
Right.
feasibility study, something along those lines.
traffic calming.
Thank you.
And I don't remember, it's LPA, but I don't remember the exact what the acronym stands for. Well, Caltrans came to the Earth meeting. They didn't have a quorum, but we just basically allowed them to present and record it and go from there. So they have two projects going. There's you remember when Kevin Wasik was on Lath, he wanted the Hawk crosswalks. Well, the California Highway Patrol commander and his staff put together funding request to Caltrans and got it. So there's going to be, it's not going to happen immediately, right? Right.
I'm Thomas Aceves on the Caltrans Pedestrian and Cycling Committee. And one of the things was the funding what I cover is complete streets, which funds the traffic calming. We had a presentation also at the W.R.T.H. meeting in Nice by them, but that's going to launch in 2031. It's a long-term project, but the crosswalks, I believe, are supposed to start going out next year, at least for bidding. It's a different funding. So I'm real happy because the fatality rate and the people crossing during the nighttime hours, we can't see them. This will help with that safety. So I'm very looking forward to that.
So there's two different projects. There's that, and then the presentation, Complete Streets, that they're doing is what they're going to probably come and do whenever you're ready to have them present here, because they're willing to come. But we had Maria on the agenda, so we didn't want to compete. But let me know. We'll figure out how to get them here or connect you with them so you can schedule that.
Not to interrupt, but I think Lucerne actually looks pretty good when it comes to traffic safety compared to Nice. Upper Lake's a little bit better because I do a lot of cycling. When I come through here, at least we have the lanes, and you've got the beautiful walkway park and boardwalk. So I'm not sure exactly what these are all things they're just going to recommend, but Nice needs it because we just had fatalities, and it's a constant battle with lighting through that corridor and speed, and so yeah, I think it all looks good, but hopefully we'll all be around here when that happens.
Well, the other thing too is that I seen there was a projected list, but I don't even want to put it out just yet because if it's not going to be the actual list, I don't want to put it out and then have what we had with other things. So, but no, Lucerne has in that list. There's about eight different areas where they're going to work on, and I know there's like 4 in Nice, the normal ones. Right.
And bike recognition or whatever they want on the actual street. I like bike lanes going each way. I even like and they propose that, the green paint, if you've seen other areas that tell you what the bike lane is. They also proposed an adjacent path near Century, and these are just ideas they're going over right now, but it's a long-term process, so it's
Yeah.
So in other words, if you put a bike lane in on the other side, the lake side, you have to put one over here. Well, is that going to interfere and take away a lot of the parking for the businesses on this side, which was a major concern? And they took a lot of ideas and everything, and then nothing ever really happened other than putting in that turn lane, which is turned into a passing lane. And that's really some dangerous stuff through here. And our understanding, the last people that our group that we were talking to, was that Caltrans was going to, where the passing lane is, have different barriers where you have to pull, like a curb where you have to pull in and turn at this street instead of just leaving it wide open where they can pass, which made a lot of sense to everybody. And like you say, Kevin, when he was still alive, there's 3 major places here in Lucerne where the, yes, to cross the Foster's is a big one. And everybody thinks that the highway just goes straight through Lucerne. At the bistro, if you sit there and have lunch, and as the semis come this way, and then it curves around like this, and they hit where everybody's coming across to Foster's, you see the brakes light up and the skids and stuff. It's not, it looks like, oh wow, this is easy and you got no problems. There's a lot of dangerous places. The one place at that town, at the trailer park at that far end of town, where the car went clear on up through and took out the fence and went through the place. I mean, so we need something to slow the people, to slow the turn lane that made things worse.
Nice has the same problem.
Exactly.
The passing lane instead of
Yes.
what it's supposed to be. I see that happen every time I drive, and those crosswalks in Nice, they scare me to death at night. I slow down and virtually stop to make sure nobody's walking across them.
It lights up.
Killed someone once. Now, she was asking me about what we've gone through with Caltrans and explaining how bad it is at night. I'm not sure the specifics, but he was one of the people that hurt. He wasn't I don't know the whole case, but these things, I come home every night from Clear Lake, and I know these people are on the side. Tonight, coming at dusk, they're on the side of the road walking, ready to pop out. And some of these people are high and they just don't care. But it gets to the point where it's just a little, the lighting, the illumination, and the hot. Hopefully that'll start. The hawk thing will start next year, and the complete streets. Unfortunately, once they come here, you can give your feedback, but that's a longer term project. It's just not going to happen.
Anything we can do for safety.
So 2031, 32, they're looking at launching of construction.
In the areas that you're speaking of are one of the main, or are the main spots, along with a few others. Those are the ones that are on the RFB. Yeah. It's just like you said, it's 31 or something like that. So yeah, that's one thing. So they can come. The other thing is, I want to make sure we announce this too about the harbor. I wanted to make sure that we can get Lars here. I know that Austin, you and I had talked about getting him here to give an update. And in my last discussion with him, especially during the budget, he mentioned how we are at the level of going out for RFPs and moving forward from there. And then I know you wanted to see something like a project description or something of the like. Yeah. And so if we can coordinate, email him. He already said he would come. He just knew that this month wasn't a good one. But it would be good to have him here so that everybody could we can get a more accurate update on where we're at, because there's nothing really holding it back like when it comes to the CEQA or anything like that anymore.
I thought that was going to go out for bid in August. I remember you saying that they were ready to go.
Yeah, I know that there was a permit situation, but that's why I want him here, so he can answer it better.
We can always have more than one speaker
Right.
at a meeting, right? So
It's just on you all to control the dialogue.
just let us know who's
Yeah.
willing and ready to come, and we'll get them on the agenda.
Well, I'll make sure he comes, because I know that that's something that is always brought up, and I don't want to leave it off. I know people get upset when things come off the agenda, so yeah. So I'll make sure that would be one. Go ahead.
And one other thing I'd request whenever we do invite them, anybody that we invite actually, is I'd like some sort of questions or guidelines, like what can we do, rather than us just taking in the information and then not having anywhere to go from there. I think it'd be cool if the presenters came to us with like an action-ready plan on how we can support them as a town hall, rather than us just taking that information.
So maybe we front load some things for him, so when he comes here, he's prepared, and then we can get forward on that, rather than just saying, well, let's wait till next month to see what he says. I hear you. That's the same we have.
Just to add on that, at our meetings, we've come across that it'd be better for us to submit questions to the guests, so maybe advance, so they can come prepared with. I think EJ's even offered that idea, and we need to do more of that at ours, so we don't have a guest, not prepared because they haven't been know what their questions are going to be. So, can I ask a question about that department? Is it all right, guys? Is that in his ballpark now to get this done? I mean, it's been so. We did the delays because he's working on getting the permits, or okay.
About it, it's been a long haul, and so this thing's been going since 2016, 15, whatever the case may be, and we've got it to a point where it was during COVID year 2020, it was going to move forward. It pushed CEQA in 2021, and so it went all the way back through the process, and so then now we're back at this situation. There was some artifact found, so even though it was discouraging to have it stalled, it's better off, because then it would have been held up in litigation or something like that. So now that it's passed, they found what they needed to, and now when they move forward to do the work, they have a plan. It just needs to move forward from here, and that's that. And so, it's been in his wheelhouse to do so, and whatnot. The contract is in his wheelhouse. Yeah, so so that's the harbor. Let's make sure we invite Lars for sure. I'll work with you all on that. And last thing is, if you all know, I've been on the Farm, Ranch, and Rural Communities Committee for the Federal Advisory Committee for EPA. We passed a letter that we're going to send to the Administrator Regan, Administrator Regan, for the EPA to fund rural counties with Inflation Reduction Act funding and any other sources of funding. One of our key emphasis recommendations was to ensure that counties like ours are not left out. We need training, technical assistance, and one of the technical assistance sites is in San Diego, and I'm glad I'm there because I'm like, I don't know how that's going to help me or even other national agencies, because there's 3 Californians and everywhere else, a lot of Midwest folks with interest, East Coast representatives, and so it's a room of like 30 people advocating for how we're going to write this letter. So we've just voted on finishing it, and we'll be sending that letter, I want to say in November, finalizing it, and then I'll be meeting with them in DC next year to start that process. So so that's come to fruition. It's actually a really interesting committee. I didn't know what to expect, and now I understand more what it's about. It has to do not only with just farming or ag, it's also different small communities like ours having the opportunity to get funding and assistance in that realm. So yeah, that's been impressive. What I like about that committee the most is because I was appointed to it, I was able to go to DC with RCRC last year. I also was able to meet with the Region 9, Martha Guzman, new representative for EPA, who put us into a meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers, which now has the Army Corps meeting with us every 2 weeks about the Middle Creek restoration. So that's not moving, it's not moving at a sloth speed, it's more moving at like turtle speed. So at least we're getting further, so that's the type of things that I'm trying to do when I'm on these type of committees, is talk about how, hey, the hitch are endangered and they're a problem, we need help. This is a habitat, help us, this is another way to do it. So just trying to link those things together and get people to see what we can do to help our communities. And for that, I think that's what I have mostly. I don't know if there's anything else, but yeah.
Thank you. I have one announcement.
Fingers for us, Crandall.
Pardon me? Oh, oops. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, we will be moving forward into agenda item 3, public expression. Members of the public are welcome to address the C.E.R.T.H on items not listed on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person.
Hi guys, thanks for letting me. I'm Thomas Aceves, I'm on the Worth Committee, but tonight I'm here to represent Vision of Hope Village, which I've talked about in the past. Vision of Hope Village is a non-for-profit. Our long-term goal as a volunteer with them, founded by my wife Robin and Tracy and Jennifer out of the Nice area, is to create experiences for young adults with. Our mission is to create experiences with young adults with autism and disabilities. I'm really happy to say this month, we're going to be having a huge Halloween festival, one of the biggest festivals of the North Shore. I'm glad to bring it to you. It's going to be happening at the Nice Event Center on the 28th, 12 to 6. It's donation driven, and we're going to have so much going on there. We got Fog Revisited and the Tattooed Cherries. We got face painting, food by Underdog and Foxy Kettle Corn, carnival games, sensory area, craft vendors, drawing every hour. Sponsored by a lot of sponsors, including the company I work for, A1 Check Cashing. So we're really excited to present this to the community. We did this last year, and we're going to do it again with a bigger experience. And we'd love to see you guys pass the message along to everybody in the community. Again, North Shore doesn't always we had the Indian Days, and there's some other things that are happening, but this is going to be one of the biggest North Shore events, and we hope to get the support and see you guys out there. 12 to 6, we're going to have a blast, and we're really working hard on this one this year. And I'll be helping you with parking, and it won't be me, but if I get my costume right, it'll be Elvis Presley. He'll be there. So we'd love to have you pass this along. I'm really happy to say, too, that Vision of Hope Village is we just got awarded a $10,000 grant from Bank of America. And now they're looking at that, utilizing that possibly for kitchen or cooking, teaching the kids with disabilities and autism. So you can see a lot going on in this community with Vision of Hope Village. In fact, we were in Mendocino, Pumpkin Fest in Ukiah yesterday, which was a blast. And that was really a great event, and because they sell succulents and plants to raise money. So if you want a brochure, pass this along. If you can't make it, maybe pass it to the community as you talk about it. It's on the 28th, 12 to 6, Saturday. Thank you. Fantastic. I know they're going around, Tracy and Robin, getting the word out. Hell no, Elvis will be there. You come out and support our community, and it's a donation driven for Vision of Hope. And
If you need volunteers, just, let us know. We can post that on Facebook.
Do you guys work with any other organizations? Like, do you ever like work with AAI or anything?
Thanks so much, Thomas. Love hearing about Holocaust, actually. It's great.
I just would like to know if it's possible. You guys had talked before, quite a while before, about getting the fellow over here to explain why we went from first to last on the roads when it comes through the county.
Paving less.
Public Works.
Yeah, well, how we went from, we were supposed to be first on the roads and we went from first to last.
The road plan.
If it'd be possible for him to come and explain, and we probably don't want to give him questions ahead of time because maybe he don't want to come. But
No, I think he would, especially if you had questions ahead of time. I think that might help.
okay, that's all I
He
have.
went to the Worth meeting.
Lively?
It was like a Supreme Court hearing.
and we don't. Again, we didn't have questions prepared for him, but the road conditions, yeah, we were concerned too why we dropped down. He claimed it was, and they have done a lot of chip seal work in Lakeport area, outside Lakeport, because I ride on those roads. And they did Scotts Valley, they did Riggs, they did Martin. So the answer to us was that because of fire,
The Cobb was.
and maybe EJ will have a better answer on that.
It moved from one area to another, and actually at the Earth meeting, Bruno was there helping Thomas with the peg, and he's like, I want to state that it's partially my fault because I asked a question, and after that question was answered, it switched. But what Scott had told me as well, and I think he might have said this at the meeting, is that the contract that's for the 10-year plan that they're putting in place for the work to be done is the way that the plan's moving. However, his crew can still do the work that we need. And so I think that's where, when he comes, we need to have those questions prepared, especially since he said that at 2 different meetings, basically, that we'll still be able to work on projects that you need while the contractors are hitting those, so that way it's not overburdening our department. So that's probably some things we can front load them with and say, okay, well, which ones? Because we have these 4 that we want to see done, in our area first. Because it seems like country club's always okay, but it doesn't have what we need. Like, it doesn't have like a stopping area for our schools, but it's always the one that's okay. But like this 10th and 9th, and I know on a couple others, they're horrible. So.
They are.
Right.
Yeah.
Country club itself, it's always, I don't know why it's always. Yeah.
Well, my concerns are for roads with potholes in bad shape for evacuation.
Right.
That's a major concern, and for fire trucks and emergency vehicles to be able to access through those giant potholes. Yeah.
if someone is sensitive to like a neck injury or something, it could probably, so yeah, that's, so those are the three main, right, that you all will need to work on getting here is Public Works, not special districts, public services, and Caltrans, so.
Yeah. Maybe we could have a joint meeting.
Yeah. You have to split it up. Yeah. Like the Caltrans that happened, it was only scheduled for like 15 minutes over there, not even that. But then when they didn't have a quorum, it went through the whole meeting and they were just going at him. I don't know how long it lasted. So we'll have to figure out which one. I mean, I think we can cover two in one meeting.
Yeah.
Just front load them with the questions, not limit the time, but then just allow. They'll stay. I know Scott said he'd stay after that other meeting, and he stayed so that way if they get further into their questions, they can say, okay, after just go talk with Scott, and then vice versa with Lars or whatever the case may be,
I would definitely want to do some outreach to the community, what their questions might be. We can do some of that on Facebook
Right.
easily, but those who don't go online or use Facebook, so that mailing list would really be.
No, the mailing list, we're doing that.
Postmarks for that kind of stuff.
Now that we got that, and I told that to the town council before, but the mailing list, that was something I've been working on, and finally I got through with the postmaster here that brought me up the echelon for direct mailers. And so with the county, I was asking for addresses, and they were like 5,000 different addresses, which would have costed, above the budget that's for here. Because each town council still has about $870 and change dollars from the PG&E grant from 2021 or 2020. So, and I've said this at different meetings, I'm looking for discretionary funds to come to each town council to have in order to move forward as well. So, but of course, I want it to be able to be used for the discretion of the town council, of course, but also for mailings like this, because we know Facebook, the website isn't something that everybody can access. So a mailer would be ideal for some of the folks to come to this, and we'll have a lot of people here. And so I'm working on that for this next week to get those mailers out, and it's going to have the link to the website where the county website that has C.E.R.T.H. It's going to have the Facebook. It's going to have the application link in case for next year people can apply, because of course it's for the whole town of Lucerne, 95458 zip code, hoping to recruit possibly somebody from the C.E.R.T.H or the Paradise Valley area to apply and represent that specific area. And then also last is what was the last thing? There was one more thing, but it will announce the date and time that we're having it here in the address, so that way they'll have it. We can send one out either quarterly, or if people are understanding that when it is, you guys will have a meeting with more people. So yeah, I know that was a frustration with. I know Skip came and said that we don't get the email list, and the email list that I have is way outdated. I mean, it's the one that I finally found is there's no way to work. So we'll just do that mailer.
Okay. Cool. Probably that's the last for at least public expression. Probably move on towards any announcements.
I have an announcement. This one, am I supposed to use? Okay. Actually, I was going to get up and walk over to where I put those boxes on that table back there. And unfortunately, some of the people that I know who routinely pick up trash at the parks in this community are not here tonight. We had a very generous donation from a county resident who purchased or provided the funds to purchase some personal sharps containers so that when you're at the park, if you see a hypodermic syringe, you will have a safe container for it. And in order to pick up that syringe, we had another donation of grabbers that so you can just pick it up with that grabber, put it in the sharps container, and hopefully that will keep more of us safe as we do cleanup. I know people do that on a regular basis around here, and we just want to make sure that people are safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements? I don't have any. Do you have an announcement on this? All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Aye. And I believe we have it.